There's this thing that comedians don't do. We don't read, right? And it's a part that is falling down. We need to buy books. We need to read. There's a guy I look up to. I study this guy like a book. His stage control to the extent of knowing how he holds his mic. These are parts of the art. Comedy is everywhere. Jokes are everywhere. Yeah. You just have to be very observant
and creative.
And very creative on your own.
Yeah. Must a comedian look like a comedian?
You don't have. That's the thing. You must not be funny before you get funny. It's a deep thought. You don't have to be funny or look funny before you are funny. My advice to every young creative out there: first of all, you need to defeat fear.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel the only way you need to defeat fear is if you take up courage. Yeah. That you can do it. Yeah. You need to defeat fear. You need to man up to yourself and tell yourself, man, I'm doing this. Right. Take up the responsibility and then go for knowledge. Knowledge helps you build capacity.
All right, we are back on it again on the new episode of Let's Talk Show. My name is Elvis Vitalis, and today happens to be another beautiful day where we'll be discussing about a lot that comes in mind when we talk about entertainment sector. But right here, I would not be driving alone because I have an amazing guest doing this with me today. Ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not busy, I want you to give it up for my guest, who happens to be a spontaneous comedian. And of course, the fun fact is we both attended the same university. Exactly. And today, joining me for the very first time I have with me on the TV or on set, Mr. Sammy Wicky.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bro, what's good?
I'm good, bro.
Now let's go all on formal. Because I feel like we're a whole lot formal right now. So let's do it on. I think you call it informal or be informal.
All of the above.
So I think with this, you can actually attest to the fact that I will do so well with comedy, right?
Yeah. You'll try.
I'll try.
As a field comedian. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what's up now? How's the career? How's the journey? How's everything?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Comedy has been great. I would say it's the best thing that has happened to me, okay, as a person. And but you know, it's a job. And first of all, it starts off as a dream, okay, and then it goes on to be a career, and then it goes on to be a job. Okay. And for some of us that has taken it as a way of life now, it suits our views. It's the only platform we stand on as a job. So yeah, but comedy has been great. I would say that it's been great. The industry isn't easy. There's a lot of competition, but so far, yeah.
All right, but would you really attest to the fact that if they had a school for comedians, you'd have a lot of creatives going in for it? Because I feel like for most of this creative part or spaces where you have, individuals diving into, this is like most of these creative ideas that are not schooled. Some persons are, doing so well with it. You see somebody who studied mathematics telling he's an artist and he's doing so well in that discipline. You see somebody who studied medicine, happens to be a skit maker, and he's doing so well in it. Yeah. But do you think if there happened to be an institution that harbors all of this creative or creativity, do you think a lot of persons would want to go into it? Or better say, would want to school in it and then come out successful?
The thing is this. Comedy is a genre of literature. Okay. So if you are an art scholar, you should be able to absorb every knowledge that comes from literature. Okay. And then comedy is one of them. Now, here in Africa, we don't study comedy as a course or as a subject. But if there should be an institution where, comedy should be, studied as a course, it won't be bad. But I'll tell you that just like people study theater art in the university, people are going to float in the department of comedy.
Right. So you feel it's a lot more inborn than, going outside to study it?
No, it will be both ways. It might be you might have it in you, and you can also study it also. You studying it is an avenue for you to grow what is inborn. There are lots of creatives out there, lots of comedians out there. They want to be comedians, but they just don't know how to. When I started, I didn't know how to be a comedian. But someone had to put me through. This is how you be a comedian. This is how you be an amazing comedian, a wonderful comedian. So yeah.
So at this point, do you feel you're an amazing comedian?
I wouldn't want to blow my trumpet, but I would rate myself 80%.
80%?
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't want to blow my trumpet.
Could this be the reason why on every big event they have to use your startup for the event? And I also heard something that if they don't start you up, if you're not the first to, have the mic on your hands on any event, that means that event will be sold out and that event will be a flop.
Well, everybody has their glory, but I would say for me it's been amazing. That's what I would say.
But really, don't take it too personal. I guess that's a joke. You're giving yourself, you're blowing your trumpet.
I'm not trying to blow my trumpet, but I would say it's been amazing. I don't mind being a startup as long as I'm doing my job.
Right.
I also don't mind performing with the big shots.
Yeah.
I'm just happy doing my job. So yeah,
true.
I don't mind being a startup.
Yeah, like you rightly said, hence it's footing bills and making you happy and everybody happy. Yeah. That's all that counts. All right, now moving back to the sector, basically right here in Port Harcourt, do you feel like the entertainment basically has created a path for enough or a lot of upcoming creatives to be, and then to an extent, I stand to be corrected, you can actually spot this out, but do you feel it's not healthy to an extent? Because looking at the diversion of creatives in this space, there is this level of toxicity that that tends to sperm around the industry that has divided the whole thing to be either you're in this faction or the other faction. All right. And I'd also want to know the faction you are in. Yeah.
Truthfully, I'm not in any faction. Oh. I'm not in anyone. But I would say that there are certain persons that helped me while I was growing and gave me directions. And also, but I would say specifically, like I said, people helped me, but I would say that I carved my niche myself. Yeah. So, but here in Port Harcourt City, there is a diversity in, I would use the word, permit me to use the word cartel.
Cartel.
Yeah.
All right. It's not a bad word.
So there's something like that. And it bridges the gap for brotherhood. Yes, it does bridges the gap for brotherhood, because at the end of the day, you find out that there are some persons that needs to be helped to grow. But because maybe the person is looking up, that particular creative or that particular young comedian is looking up to another person, and this other person that is in position to help him is not in good terms or is not in the same cartel group or family group with
who the other person is looking up to.
Yeah.
Becomes a problem.
So it's a bridge for that person, that young comedian, to grow. You find out that, and then there's this also I would call it a dichotomy between a mentor and another mentor. So these are some of the shortcomings most of the young comedians are having.
Really?
Yes. These are some of the shortcomings that we're having. The thing is, at the end of the day, a young comedian just wants his voice to be heard.
And not them stealing his jokes.
Thank you.
I have to come out playing,
A young comedian just wants his voice to be heard. He might not start off at the right note. When I started as a comedian, believe me, I was telling people's jokes.
You feel that is like healthy? You feel that is okay?
Now, here's the thing. As a starter, for you to gain, standing up on stage is not easy. It's not easy. Sometimes you get to start up with, you don't even start up with small audience. You get to start up with up to 2,000, 3,000 audience. And believe me, it's frightening.
Really?
Yes, it does. It's very frightening.
I felt like at that stage, everybody looks like ants in your eyes. You can't even see their faces clearly.
There are some persons that the moment they introduce you on stage, their expectation from you is huge. And you being a starter, you want to impress. But the moment you just get to the crowd and then you see this mammon crowd, this influx of people, you lose confidence. You don't get to impress them again.
So how did you tend to work on that path?
Through time, continuous progress. And then there's this thing that comedians don't do. We don't read.
Right.
And it's a part that is falling down. We need to buy books. We need to read. There's a guy I look up to. I study this guy like a book. His stage control to the extent of knowing how he holds his mic. These are parts of the art. Do you get? Okay. So as a result of continuous performance, I got to learn. I got to understand that this is how this thing is done. And then comedy is everywhere. Jokes are everywhere.
Yeah.
You just have to be very observant
and creative.
And very creative on your own.
Yeah.
Like for me, before I perform a joke, I have a big mirror in my apartment where I have one in my bathroom, and then I have one in my room where I rehearse. If the joke is not funny to me, I don't try it out.
Have you ever had that experience before?
Yeah, I have.
And what was the result like?
First of all, before I test run a joke, I have to tell it to myself first. If I don't laugh, I don't use it.
But aren't there tendencies where you crack a joke to yourself and it's pretty funny, and when you're out there, you have this very silent mood from the audience?
It happens.
So what do you do in that situation?
You continue.
You continue telling
yes,
boring
no,
joke.
you continue with another joke.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You continue with another joke. But in comedy, there's something called spontaneity. You just have to get spontaneous. Somebody might just say something from the audience, and then you can pick from it. Yeah. You can pick from it. You just have to be very... The art of comedy comes with spontaneity. You just have to be creative enough to pick something from the audience.
All right. So listening to all you've said, you keep mentioning someone you kept looking up to and over and over again. I really want to know who you're looking up to, because I feel like there's nobody who is creative that was born with creativity without the person harnessing this creativity.
So just like the king of comedy, Ali Baba, would say, he said there's someone he looks up to.
Yeah.
And that person is called, he hasn't met the person, but the person's name is Tyler Perry. Yeah. So for me, I don't just look up to one person, but there are certain persons that I look up to in the comedic scene and also in the business sector. So for me, the comedic scene or the comedic sphere, I would say the first person is South African, Trevor Noah. And then the second person is a female. Her name is Tiffany Haddish. I think 2-3 years ago, she won Best Comedy Album at the Grammys. So yeah, these are the two people I role model for me. But in Nigeria, Bovi is number 1, and then SLK is number 2.
Then in Port Harcourt?
In Port Harcourt, I would put the first person as a stand-up comedian. First of all, the first person I would put is Coxon, GSN, JP. I wouldn't want to bring in the big shots like KO. These guys are very creative. KO
is GSN,
JP. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. KO is very creative. I didn't just want to put him in that hierarchy because he's on a different level. Do you get? KO is on a different level. He could stand on the stage for 2 hours. He's on a different level. But if I will not putting him in that hierarchy because he's above, So for me personally, I would put Coxon, GSN, JP. But there are other people like the likes of Akpan Okon, Nat Oliver. Okay, I would put also the likes of I'll bring in Prof Amani. I'll bring in Prof Amani. I'll bring in a lot of them.
Why mentioning this name? Something just popped in my head, and I'll be like, must a comedian look like a comedian?
You don't have. That's the thing. You must not be funny before you get funny. It's a deep thought. You don't have to be funny or look funny before you are funny. You don't have to.
Because you made mention of this guy, Aman Perfamani. He looks like a soldier. And sometimes I ask myself this question. Honestly, can this guy even make me laugh?
He can.
But he's very hilarious. He's
very spontaneous, very good.
I tend to put the facial, recognition or description.
You don't have to look funny before you are funny. And your name also don't have to sound funny before you are funny.
Okay, so these are criteria one.
No. They are not criteria, but these are things I feel. For instance, there's a comedian called Tombo Bele. Now, ordinarily, his name sounds funny. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's funny. I haven't listened to him before, but come on.
Yeah. So these are criteria for crying out loud, because you need to have a funny name to start with.
I don't think so.
Really?
Yes.
We have Mr. Bean. What comes to your mind?
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Funny.
Mr. Funny is a stage name.
Yeah, but it just strikes this notion in your head that this guy is going to be funny or hilarious or better still a comedian.
Like I said, you don't have to. Your name mustn't be funny before you get funny or before you are
okay,
funny.
Like your name, you took it way personal and very serious. Sammy Wicky, sounding like someone who acts an action movie, and yet you're a comedian. Come on now.
Okay, now here's the thing. Sammy is my surname, and then Wicky is my name.
Your real name?
Yes.
Wicky.
Yeah. That's
what's the meaning of Wicky?
Now, here's the thing. Wicky is the Danish word for the will of God.
Danish?
Yeah.
What is Danish?
Denmark.
Oh,
the Danish word for.
And now it was Hebrew.
No,
Jewish,
we have
and
Hebrew.
now you're going to Denmark. You know what in Nigerians? Once we get a name, we must look for the country.
No, there's nothing
that has a good meaning.
No. It's just like you have words like Zoe, the Hebrew word for Zoe. The Hebrew word for Zoe is Zoe, but in English it is God's life. Just like the word grace. The Hebrew word for grace is charis. You get. So the Danish word for the will of God, that's God's will.
Danish.
Yes.
You left Hebrew. You left Jewish. And you went
in Hebrew, I think it's Kaima, something Kaima or something.
You didn't answer that one.
No, I didn't want that.
You went to answer Wiki. I mean, first off, to an Englishman, what do you think they would look at you as?
Not a weakling, but
okay, that's funny now.
Or in quotes, or a wiki.
You want yourself?
No. You know, sometimes when I tell people my name, they'll be like, Sammy Wiki.
No, they didn't.
But it's not Wiki.
For those persons, probably they're not learned.
Yeah.
For those that are learned, they will look at you and be like, guy, probably you're
some people would even quote it to be Sammy Wicked.
All right, so what are your expectations for this year? I mean, the year is pretty fresh.
Yeah.
And I certainly know you have a whole lot, boxed up, and you're really ready to explode.
I would lie to you. There's a lot of things coming out. First of all, we're going to be, for me personally, in few days' time, we're going to be floating the first flyer for my forthcoming comedy show. Yeah, it's on the 17th of August, and it's really going to be huge. Right. And then after that, we're starting my tour. We're going to be doing some campuses and then across Africa, and we're planning by 2026. I think by May we're going to be doing the first UK tour. Beautiful. I like hearing this. I mean, especially from young creatives. I don't call them upcoming. No, for me, I don't even like the word upcoming. I like the word fast rising. Yeah.
To me, it still sounds the same. I like calling them young creatives.
Yeah.
You never can tell. Young, and if the person is old, you call him old.
A lot of us are doing a good job.
Very
fascinating job, and the craft is growing.
Yeah.
There was a time where skit comedy was like the talk of the town.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that most investors and most investors are still seeing the goodness in stand-up comedy, and it's growing. Yeah. And by the grace of God, we're getting there.
Yeah. So if it's an advice you want to give to investors in Port Harcourt, the government, policymakers on comedy, what exactly would it be?
Now, to anybody hearing this out there, please, as long as you're an investor resident in Port Harcourt, you own a company that offers corporate social responsibilities and all that, and you'd like to invest in the entertainment, please, stand-up comedy is one. Honestly, we are lacking behind in terms of getting investors or sponsorship, but you should invest in stand-up comedy. A big shout out to the mayor of housing. He's doing a great job at his own, pace in sponsoring stand-up comedy shows. Yeah. So I would say the government should look at that very sector, sponsoring stand-up comedy shows.
And most to add to what you're saying, I feel like the health sector needs to start sponsoring.
Yes.
Because there was a time I went to the hospital to see, back then when my mom was in the hospital, she was diagnosed of diabetes. So the ward where she was, they had to fix that was like a YouTube series of comedy, right? And people in the wards they totally forgot for the very first time that they were that they were ill. I saw a woman who had cancer, who has been crying all through the night.
Yeah.
That period while she was watching this, I was so sure she wasn't thinking about the pain anymore.
There's a hospital. Now, this is no advert to anybody, but there's a hospital that does this in Port Harcourt.
Really?
Yes, Save a Life Hospital.
Beautiful.
They do. They invite comedians. And shout out to Dr. Richard, please. You're doing a good job. I don't know you, but you're doing a good job, sir. He does invite comedians. They come to the ward. They have like a room, and then they bring comedians. They tell joke to the patient and all that. Yeah.
Well, it becomes very sad if your joke tends to bring somebody to tears. Or tend to make somebody.
That's where
the entire room keep quiet, and then you now remind somebody of his or her pain. Or maybe
but that's where comedy comes in. That's
right?
Why it is called comedy. It might be making mockery of your situation, but at the end of the day, it is inducing humor.
Yeah.
The message shouldn't be what is the topic that is being talked about. The message is the humor.
Yeah, because you know why? Because after this show, I noticed that my mom had to check her BP. Yeah. And it dropped a bit.
You see?
So this could really be of a help if the government can, fix this into the policy
schedule,
right, for health workers, and probably once or twice every month we could have.
It would be very fascinating.
Also, even to those in the prison. Yeah, because I feel like there's so many persons.
I wouldn't go there.
What are we not saying, bro? They're humans as well.
Don't mind me.
They're humans as well. There's so many persons there who's going through a rage of depression. Yeah, right?
True. As a result of...
someone was doing that. Angel the Laugh at the time. As a 210, 211, 212.
Okay.
I was following he was doing that, but at some point he stopped and now switched into,
comedy
fixing
clubs.
up comedy stuff with the high-rank officers and all.
Yeah.
There was a time he was doing this, behind the bars, something comedy behind the bars or so. It was fascinating. It was beautiful.
I'm not aware of it, but I know he does it. Angel the Laugh. He does a great job in putting it. Most of these big guys don't get humor. So what they do is they try to, they reach out to him, and then he does this a little kind of setup for them, and then bring comedians for them and tell them jokes, so that it relieves the tension.
A lot.
It does relieve the tension.
For the record, right? You ever want to go outside to have fun with your loved ones, especially Valentine is fast approaching, and you feel like, you don't want to do it in a club, you don't want to do it in a resort. You could look out for comedy events at the time.
Yeah, please
trust me. You will get the value of your money. I tell people that if you want to have exclusive fun, right? I'm not like giving a hype or probably talking down on music concerts and stuff. Yeah. But if you want to get the value of your money, right, you go for comedy events. Forget say food fee no come board, but you're certainly going to love it.
Please do.
They try.
Please, everybody out there, if you're watching this, just see it as supporting the comedian. Please.
All right.
Go out for comedy.
So before I let you go, I'd like you to, give an advice to creatives who are facing fear. They say fear is false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of comedians who are very spontaneous, who are very funny, but can't stand in the crowd.
True.
I've seen one, I think that was like a student of one of the institutions who was called from his department. He's so funny. Lecturers, after class, they tend to give him like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to, do something and make everybody feel excited. And he was called upon impromptu to come and do something. And when he got there, while he was shivering and all of that tension, he just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a problem. I feel like a lot of them are going through this stress. So what would be your advice to them?
Now, before I give a response to your answer, there's a comedian I didn't mention that is doing a very great job.
Okay.
Please shout out to Advisor. I love you, sir. I love you so much. I love your work. Advisor is doing a great job. He's a great stand-up comedian. Honestly, he's doing a great job. My advice to every young creative out there, first of all, you need to defeat fear.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel the only way you need to defeat fear is if you take up courage. That you can do it. Yeah, you need to defeat fear. You need to man up to yourself and tell yourself, man, I'm doing this. Right. Take up the responsibility and then go for knowledge. Knowledge helps you build capacity. There are jokes I got from books, reading books. And then please be observant. Jokes are everywhere. I went to the bank. I'll tell you this story. I went to the bank. Sorry, I know we're about leaving, but I went to the bank and then an old woman came. She was waiting on the line for, to withdraw money. And then the first person withdrew, the second person withdrew. It got to her turn. She had waited. So when it got to her turn, immediately she put her card. The machine wrote, temporarily unable to dispense cash. The woman got angry. Myself, it was not even up to my turn. I was just standing on the ATM line. The woman got angry. Sationa, they see why they like Akao. Say if not my Akao woman, now she don't give her her money. Now, I use this as a joke when I'm telling jokes, but I got it from an old woman. I was just very observant enough. Right. Do you get? So you just have to be observant, very observant. Jokes are everywhere, and then please try as much as you can. Even if you're going to copy another person, reference the person. You can just say, Elvis once said, reference. If you're going to tell another person's joke, it is only pertinent that you reference the person so that at the end of the day, people would identify that you're telling someone else's story
in a creative
way. If not, you get a lawsuit. Yeah.
They don't they sooner.
Now intellectual property.
I understand. I wanted to say that, but bro, this is
so that the reason now so that they go have mercy for easy.
Oh my goodness. All right, so at this junction, I will be drawing the curtain close for the Let's Talk show. And of course, Sammy Wicky, big shout out.
Thank you so much for
coming out to doing this with us. And where can we find you? Where can we follow you? Where can we look up for your jokes? Get to know when your next event is coming out.
Yeah. So far you can check me on Instagram at SammyWicky _double_.
_double.
That's 2 _ Sammy Wicky 2 _ and then on Facebook at Sammy Wicky, on Instagram at Sammy Wicky _ on YouTube you can check Sammy Wicky TV, and of course on X is Sammy Wicky.
Yeah. All right, on this junction, or at this junction, I'll be drawing the curtain close. And of course, don't forget to follow us up on all social media platform at Tipok TV. And yes, you can follow me personally on all socials at Elvis Vitalis. And right now, the curtain is closed until I come your way on the next episode. It's a wrap. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.
You started feeling you have a sound.
Exactly.